It's been a tough couple of months for good cops in North Texas. The bad ones, the suspect ones, still on trial either before a jury or in the court of public opinion, have stolen the spotlight. Roy Oliver, once one of Balk Springs' finest, is now one of Huntsville's newest, courtesy a Dallas County jury that convicted him of murder. Fired Mesquite officer Derek Wiley's on trial after wounding someone he thought was burglarizing a truck. And of course, Dallas officer Amber Geiger, who gunned down a man in his own apartment. You've no doubt heard about all of them. Quite frankly, I was worried that during all of this, the death of a different officer, a flawless career, might pass with little public notice. Fort Worth's Garrett Hull was gunned down, police say, during the arrests of 3 longtime robbery suspects. Look up the phrase model police officer and citizen. Garrett Hall's picture will be staring back at you. A man committed to protecting the citizens he pledged to serve 17 years ago. His loss has touched every officer in Fort Worth. And it's not that the public completely ignored his death. Several gathered earlier this week as fellow officers escorted him to the funeral home. But my concern ended Wednesday night when Fort Worth citizens made clear they too ache for Garrett Hull and his family. 500 showed up at a public memorial to support his family and pay personal tribute to a man who stood in the gap between them and the lawless. Garrett Hull is being laid to rest today, and we're not there, not because we do not want to be, but because his family has asked that that service be private. It's been a tough couple of months for good cops, and now it's good to know Fort Worth has not forgotten them. You can comment on Facebook. Look for WFAA.